Now, this is completely nerdy, and Kurt will get what I'm saying. So you remember in the first
on.
Avengers, right?
Yeah. Let's go.
When they brought the Tesseract to Earth, and all of a sudden now, I know, forgive me, guys, right? Forgive me on this, right?
I love it.
And so now they got all of these alien invaders coming to Earth. And essentially Thor said something. He was just like, man, when you guys bought the Tesseract to Earth, it's this cube, guys. I'm getting to a point. He was just like, essentially, it signified to the rest of the world that the Earth was ready for a higher form of war.
Right.
And I do think that sometimes there are certain gun fatalities that only escalated to that point because somebody had a gun. It was basically, it elevated us to a higher level of conflict than most conflicts actually warrant or need. Like, it was only because a gun was in the house that it was warranted, that it was used. You know what I'm saying? And so I just think that there are just so many, and again, I'm talking much more idealistically.
Sure.
But I just think that just in our communities, in our homes, like there have been deaths that have just been senseless simply because someone had one or because you knew someone had one. You moved differently. And it signifies. I think the enemy of good is able to fan tensions to a fever pitch simply because there is an imbalance that can take place simply because, man, somebody has a gun. You know what I'm saying? Where it's not necessarily warranted or necessary.
Life can be fast-paced, strenuous, and flat-out overwhelming. Life transitions and taboo topics can make it hard to catch your breath. Welcome to Breathe, a podcast that enables you to slow down, get your bearings, and engage in real conversations where no topic is off limits. Breathe is presented by Breath of Life, hosted by David Person and speaker-director Pastor Debleaire Snell.
Welcome to Breathe.
Yes, indeed.
The brothers are here.
We're here. Amen. Another Monday.
Pastor Snell, Pastor Nugent.
What's up?
David Person. Good to be with you
Yes, indeed.
today.
We're excited to be here, man.
And I decided not to go pal
Yeah.
today because
Maybe.
might be a little unnerving in light of what
You
we're about to
understood
talk
the assignment,
about.
my friend. You
Yes,
understood the
yes.
assignment.
Listen,
No
he's
foul.
on fire from the beginning today.
Right out the gate. Right out the gate.
Right out the gate, man. And so we're gonna deal with a topic that is very current and very controversial.
Yeah.
Depending on
It
your
depends.
point of view.
That's,
I guess,
that's a good. Yeah. It really depends. Yeah.
God and guns. Should Christians carry firearms?
Wow.
There's so many sides to this.
Yeah.
Yes, a lot of thoughts.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
thoughts.
Yep.
And I know historically in our denomination, we have been a denomination that discourages.
It's true.
So I grew up not realizing that a lot of our brothers and sisters were packing.
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
That was kind of an eye-opener
Oh,
for me.
but it was an eye-opener. I remember going to a church one time, and during prayer, I was kneeling down and just kind of looked down, and I saw so many ankles. These ankle bulges.
Okay.
And I was like, we're protected in here.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I don't know if that message resonated quite like health or
Right,
other components.
right.
No, I think people kind of say, well, this is my business.
This is my business.
Yeah.
This is how I'm going to move.
Yeah.
So,
But I think also there's been an evolution on this thinking, right?
This is
About
true.
whether or not we should be gun owners as in private individuals, and then even more so in the church setting.
yeah, because honestly, I don't know that messaging in terms of us not owning guns is as pronounced. At least I don't hear it. It's not in the ether quite as much. I think people have just generally people have just kind of accepted people are going to kind of come to that conclusion for themselves, make those decisions. I think, our general message is love for one another, not doing anything that would bring harm to your neighbor, decrying evil acts of violence that take place with a gun. But I don't know that there is a clear, ongoing, consistent messaging about whether or not you should carry.
Well, let's start with the official church position. Is there one?
You know what? I actually don't know.
I don't know either.
I actually
Okay.
don't know. I probably should have done that
and I don't
before
I
we
don't
jumped
know
on here
either.
today. Yeah, I don't know if we have an
know.
official position on it.
I don't know.
I suspect we do not.
I
Yeah.
don't think
That'd be my bet. If
That
I
would
was
be
gonna-
my-
if I was
that
gonna
would be
bet,
my
I'd
guess
say
as
we
well.
probably don't.
I would actually bet we would because
You think
really?
so?
It seems like we have a position. You know what I'm saying? There's a
Yeah.
position for everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I just don't know that it's tacked down in terms of
Yeah.
prohibitions one way or the other.
Right,
I think there's
right.
probably a general admonition. So
Yeah.
maybe we can, in post, kind
Put
of
that in
lay
there.
out
Kinda
Yeah,
like-
what,
we
our,
can put
what
that-
our church's position
Yeah,
is.
we can put that in there. Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine. Yeah.
All right. Well, then let's deal with this next question then. And we're going to be transparent here.
Yeah.
Are any of us in this room gun owners?
Yeah. So I'm not going to answer that question
Okay.
in this
All right.
space, and it's
Okay.
not because I'm ashamed one way or the other.
Okay.
I just I don't. I just need to think through the ramifications. Of answering the
Of answering
question.
the
Yeah.
question. All right.
Yeah.
And we'll just say you're a pastor also, so I'll just say
Yeah.
we'll let you say that position.
No,
I will take the position.
Okay, yeah.
I'll rescue you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the position that I am not a gun owner.
Okay.
No,
yeah.
At least not yet.
Yeah.
Now, I will also
Yeah.
be transparent and say I have really been thinking about it more and more
I get it.
over
Yep.
the past few years.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
I understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's definitely a conversation. I don't own a gun, but it is not something that we were looking to do. Just my wife doesn't like it. That's
Yeah.
she just doesn't like it.
Yeah.
And so we just don't have one.
Right.
All right, so let's now go down this path. Do we believe that it is immoral
To own one.
to own a gun?
Yeah. So let me just. I don't think it's immoral to own a gun. So, because I mean, at the end of the day, the need to protect home,
Yeah.
property. I think that is a sacred right. Now, I don't think that you have to have a gun to do that, but I don't think it's immoral in a vacuum to own a gun.
Right.
Now, what I believe is I do believe guns in their purpose.
Yeah.
I think they are immoral.
Yeah.
Meaning, and what I mean when I say that is anything that I think that is designed by function
Yeah.
to harm or end life.
Okay.
I don't know that the Holy Spirit breathed that into being. You know what I'm saying? I think it is one of many tools of the enemy.
Yeah.
Now again, I understand the larger idea. You can use anything to harm
And that's
somebody.
true. Yeah,
The
that's it.
first murder, Cain took a garden tool. and
Right.
he just took it to Abel. So
Right.
you can, so the issue is hate in the heart. And that's really what we
That's really
preach
what it
to,
is.
hate and envy or just whatever motive would drive somebody to that point.
Right.
But I just think that, especially when you look at, the way they are making assault rifles and even bullets, like they have murderous intent to them.
Just in the
And
creation of them.
I think that component of it, and I'm speaking ideally, man. I wish there was a world where this was not a part of our culture.
Right,
You know
right,
what I'm saying?
right.
But in terms of, is it a sin to have one in your home for safety protection? That's not necessarily my position. I think that, whether it was David carrying a slingshot or different individuals, even scripture who carried swords. So I just think in a fallen human world, the need for defense, unfortunately, is a part of our culture.
The truth is that weapons come in all shapes and sizes.
Right.
So are we just talking about a gun? Or you get what I mean? There's other ways that you can defend.
Yeah.
Depending on what, if you're a martial arts expert, listen,
true.
your hands.
Very true.
A good friend of mine who had to register his hands because he got to a level where his hands were so dangerous.
Wow.
He had to register them as weapons.
Yeah.
Wow.
So now
I didn't know that was a real thing.
Oh, it's a real thing.
Wow.
It's a very real thing.
Okay.
So now you have this have this
I
flow.
know somebody else who did that. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's very much an ego thing. too.
Yeah.
It's very much. I want y'all to know.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I'm that guy. Yeah.
You better recognize.
Yeah,
Oh, my
recognize.
word.
Yeah.
yeah. But I just think that from the perspective of defense, because a lot of even when you're learning how to defend yourself, there are self-defense classes. I think these are great things. I know my wife and daughter do one. I think there is a need to be able to defend yourself, but the whole premise behind even learning some of these tactics is not to be the aggressor, but to protect.
Yeah.
And so I think when we put them in that category of for protection,
Sure.
We kind of take off the stigma of, is this a sin? Is it not a sin?
Right.
We're still in the vein of protection.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But but I think part of just one of the reasons I wanted to have the conversation, I do think the immorality of guns in America is this. I just think the fascination with it.
I do agree. I do
The
agree.
glorification of guns. Like, I ain't gonna lie, and I'm gonna be honest, I am a part of the problem in this. Like, I love all the Mission Impossible, Matrix, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I ain't gonna lie, I had to repent after the John Wick joint. Because that
God,
guy, he probably killed like a, I had to repent.
in
right?
one
2
scene.
hours.
But
It's crazy.
But I do think there is something fundamentally immoral in that for us, gun violence is entertainment. Like, I mean, it is video
thought of it like
game
that.
material.
So
Like,
true.
I ain't gonna lie. And see, I think it bears itself out in some of the things that have just become commonplace in our culture.
Yeah.
Because I just do believe, like, and again, I don't have all the scientific data, but there's enough anecdotal stuff to say between the proliferation or the amount of violence we take in through media or video games and just literally simulation of murder.
Right.
Like, a person is only going to practice anything so long.
Yeah.
Like, you can only pretend so long. And I think the right confluence of circumstances are fanned into being.
Mercy.
You get some of the things that are happening in schools and churches and in nightclubs or malls or from rooftops, so on and so forth.
Yep.
And
So
do you
true.
know? And do you know? I think the other immorality of kind of the gun culture in America is whereas like the language is like it is this sacred right to own a gun.
That's it right there.
And even though I'm okay with the right to bear arms, I just think the possession or the acquisition of it ought to be treated more like a privilege than this
Absolutely.
God-given right. Like I mean, honestly,
Absolutely.
so to drive a motor vehicle,
It's a privilege.
like I have to
Get a
be
license.
certified in
That's
various ways that I know what I am doing.
That's right.
That I am fit to be able to drive a vehicle. Like to be able to get a passport.
Come on.
To be able to travel in and out of the country. Really, which, I don't know, maybe your driver's license could do the same thing. But, I get it. You got to have something that identifies my citizenship. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or even, I don't know, to be a pastor of a church.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There is a standard that says, all right, I can be trusted with this sacred privilege of leading in this way, or a doctor, or whatever it is.
And it comes with a level of responsibility.
And it comes with a level of responsibility. But it is insane to me. It is.
That's
I
it.
don't care. Like, y'all can take it out of context if you want. It is insane to me that anybody without any training, very little background checks, or if any, you can just go and get something that gives you the power to just be able to spray.
Yeah. And end life.
Right. Or even harm yourself.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I'm saying? Or even when you go through driver's ed, somebody is going to teach you and say, you know what? You need to be mindful.
Yeah.
When you get behind the wheel of a car, you become a danger to yourself, to
And
others.
to others.
There's almost a contract that you kind of enter into, you know what I'm saying, just to drive a vehicle. And it's just insane to me that, like, anybody can just get a car, get a firearm, no check, no oversight, no tutelage, no direction. You just go to YouTube and you figure it out. And I do think that is a part of just the immorality, that something that powerful and fatal and dangerous is accessible to everyone. And I do think it needs to be treated more like a privilege that is governed than just this God-given right that where we're framing it in America. And that is not a biblical sentiment.
No.
It is driven by the gun lobby and has been adopted by politicians, and it's leaked into the church.
Yeah.
And now we're merging it all together like gumbo.
Yeah.
When those things don't go together.
Not
like
at all. I just totally agree.
So people who keep up with the news will know that here in the state of Alabama, very recently there was a mass shooting in Montgomery.
Yeah.
And I talked to the mayor of Montgomery, Stephen Reed, a few days ago. And one of the things, I should say interviewed him. I talked to him, but interviewed him. And, one of the things that he maintains, and I think is absolutely correct, in this state, you can get a gun now without a permit. And you can conceal it without a permit.
Without a permit.
Wow. So basically, what you were saying earlier is really true here. Now, laws vary from state to state, and even from municipality to municipality in some cases.
Yeah.
But in this state, the ability to get a gun, I would imagine the only restriction that I'm actually aware of is probably age.
Yeah.
I don't think they can legally sell to somebody who's a minor. But the other problem is
minors can access them.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Pastor. They can access them, and they do.
And they do.
But you can get a gun before you can rent a car.
You can.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
I mean, just insane to me, man.
It's absolutely bad. And a gun, what it is intended to. That's the part that we're trying to thread the needle. But a gun it has no other purpose. Like a knife, you can butter your bread, you can cut a watermelon. It can be used as a weapon, but it actually was not created. That's not its intent. A gun has no other purpose except to inflict harm or to end life.
Yeah, that's right.
So it does kind of come. It should be treated on a different plane, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, because of things that now have happened in churches, like the unfortunate situation with Mother Emanuel in South Carolina, we all know about that.
Yeah.
And that's not the only one. There have been many others. Synagogues and churches primarily.
Well, there was a firebombing of a Mormon entity in Michigan, I believe it was recently. Yeah.
I just saw
Mormon
that.
Temple,
Mormon Temple.
So the question is, speaking as pastors, do you think that we've reached a point where it is now acceptable to have guns present in the hands of responsible people, trained people in the church?
Oh yeah, I mean, we have a security team, both police officers and security.
Yeah,
that is the day and the time in which we live.
Yeah.
Now again, we do not. It's on the doors. We don't want people just coming in carrying firearms because it's interesting. Everybody thinks they know what to do until an actual crisis breaks forth, and that's why I think it really needs to be in the hands of someone who operates and trains and prepares for this moment.
And that's the part I was going to say is that our team at the Oakwood Church does.
They train.
And they do, they keep up with their, whatever, the certifications or whatever. So there's a number of things. And it's not just, the use of the weapon. It's the de-escalation. It's all of the things.
Right.
So there's a larger, wider training that it's not, they're just going to the gun range. But there's a whole thing that goes into it. And I do believe, thankfully, these things are not made public, but I do believe if you are privy to some of the scenarios, we're thankful that we have these gentlemen and these women here serving us in this capacity.
Because you do get threats sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, there's just various things where they're, truth, makes people upset.
Yeah.
But then they're just domestic scenarios.
That's the part.
Because a lot of these church shootings, even with the Mormon, the Mormon temple in Michigan, it was a domestic dispute where the gentleman, I think he was a former military person.
Okay.
He and his girlfriend or wife or whatever it was, they broke up and he exacted his vengeance on the church and the people at the church. And it's quite a bit of that. So it's sometimes it's not just, a fight against ideology. It's retribution. I think, you've had some situations where maybe people felt like they were bullied or not accepted in a particular faith context. And they sought retribution in that way. So it has a lot of layers to it. There's no particular rhyme or reason, but except for just combination of mental illness and just the outplaying of evil.
Outplaying of evil,
in our culture.
Nature. It's in nature, yeah.
And but I did, the one thing I did want to go back to the protection component, because I do want to probably say a couple of things.
Okay.
Because so, and I hate to say this, but some of us are amassing these arsenals in the name of protection, and almost you're responding to a threat that's not completely real. So for instance, one of the things I learned just even as I looked at this, you have probably, of all the various types of fatalities or murders that take place annually in the United States, probably only about 2,000 of them. Only 2,000. I want to say only because one is too many.
Yeah.
But, probably, about 2,000 fatalities occur annually as a result of someone breaking into a home and inflicting harm. And even of that 2,000, quite a few of them, it's not necessarily stranger stepping in with evil intent. It's boyfriend, girlfriend, child, parent. You know what I'm saying?
Family member,
it's a family. It's kind of a domestic kind of situation. So even just kind of out of all of the number of fatalities, the percentage of people that are actually harmed in their home by a strange intruder, seeking harm, or it's a serial killer or wanting to take property. That's a very, very small percentage of people. Now, again, one is too many.
Agreed.
Clear on that.
Agreed.
But that's not by and large, you know what I'm saying, a thing. And I think maybe it's because of the number of people that have security systems and ring lights, or just, way subdivisions function, maybe differently than, 40 years ago. So I did want to just throw that out for consideration.
Right.
And then I just think, so I do think one of your greatest weapons against danger is discernment. It's many times it's knowing where to be, where not to be, how to move, and how to de-escalate situations. Now, this is completely nerdy, and Kurt will get what I'm saying. So you remember in the first Avengers, right?
Yeah. Let's go.
When they brought the Tesseract to Earth, and all of a sudden now, I know, forgive me, guys, right? Forgive me on this, right?
I love it.
And so now they got all of these alien invaders coming to Earth. And essentially Thor said something. He was just like, man, when you guys bought the Tesseract to Earth, it's this cube, guys. I'm getting to a point. He was just like, essentially, it signified to the rest of the world that the Earth was ready for a higher form of war.
Right.
And I do think that sometimes there are certain gun fatalities that only escalated to that point because somebody had a gun. It was basically, it elevated us to a higher level of conflict than most conflicts actually warrant or need. It was only because a gun was in the house that it was warranted, that it was used. You know what I'm saying? And so I just think that there are just so many, and again, I'm talking much more idealistically.
Sure.
But I just think that just in our communities, in our homes, there have been deaths that have just been senseless simply because someone had one, or because you knew someone had one. You moved differently. And it signifies. I think the enemy of good is able to fan tensions to a fever pitch simply because there is an imbalance that can take place simply because, man, somebody has a gun. You know what I'm saying? Where it's not necessarily warranted or necessary, and so
or even secure,
secure,
so that a child stumbles across, and we know those kinds of stories, Pastor, are in the
unfortunately
news.
Way too frequent, and just absolutely unnecessary, and so I just think there's just something about knowing. It's funny, it's funny. I was in a certain place. I was in Atlanta, and I got there late. Gianna picked me up from the airport, And, I was still kind of hungry because, like, there was no time to eat in between the layovers, so on and so forth. So we go to, this restaurant. And it's funny, we're there. It's kind of late. And there's just a certain element that comes in. And I was just kind of like, babe, I wasn't, like, afraid. Nobody threatened us. But I was just like, babe, it's time to go. It's just time to go.
Yeah.
And just like, I just do believe that there is a spiritual discernment or just a discernment that just kind of says, all right, you got to know where to be, where not to be, or even the distinction between when it's time to speak up and when it's time to just stand down and just keep it moving. So that things, and just sometimes being or taking the high road is what allows you to see the next day.
This is it.
Because one of my goals each day, I just need to make it home.
I just want to make it home.
You know what I'm saying?
I just want to make it home.
Yeah.
Now, as you were talking, it brought back to mind a conversation I had with some of my younger cousins. They're about 10 years younger than me. And so my age group, we were all chatting about, high school and middle school and, this fight and this fight and this fight. And I mean, it's almost a badge of honor. It's like, call Kurt, Andrew used to get it. We used to do all these things. And the younger cousins, we started asking them, like, so, what fights did you get into?
Right.
None.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Because guns were more prevalent when they were in school than when we were.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so for them, it was an issue of you don't have a clue who's doing what. You don't know who has what. So you just kept it moving. It's just this, I mean, it's exact. Yeah. It was a complete, just one generation down. It was mind-boggling for. I mean, of course, we shouldn't have been fighting either.
Yeah, right.
But you could fight in my day and live to tell the story.
Live to tell the story. Right. Yeah.
Now you fight somebody.
Yeah.
Even if you win, you're probably gonna be there.
Yeah, David, you'll like this story. I remember we were doing a young adult event in Chicago, and so the Friday night event was at the Shiloh Church there in
I know that church very well.
And you know the area, right?
Very well.
So,
yes.
Yes.
So some of you guys who are watching may know Pastor Dorsey. He's one of the associate pastors here at Oakwood Church, and so he picked me up from the airport, and so we were driving to the church, and so there was somebody, just driving. This sounds bad. Just a hood car. It went in the hood, and so like the light turns green, but they don't go. They're on their phone. There's a couple of young brothers. And your boy, Pastor Dorsey, and I ain't gonna lie, I ridicule him about this to this day. This guy just starts honking his horn.
Whoa.
And I'm just like, bro,
You about to
what are you doing? He's like, look around. Like,
read the
I'm just like,
room.
but see, he's a Southern California guy,
Right.
and he's bigger than everybody. But I'm just like,
Yeah.
dude, like, so I guess my larger point to him was just like, just. Not every battle is
Yes.
worth fighting. And there's just kind of an
No.
awareness that I just think that between spirit, of course, first and foremost, God's
Discernment.
protective care,
Praise the
but
Lord.
then just kind of that sense of knowing where to be, where not to be, what to say, what not to say, understanding the moment is probably going to be as impactful or powerful than just kind of feeling like I got to carry something with me every day, everywhere I go, regardless of whether you choose to do that or not. That's going to be more impactful in helping you be safe.
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
I'll have to.
Yeah, I was just like, dude, Dorsey. Yeah, Brother Dorsey, what you doing, man? I was just like, yo, bro.
On the south side of Chicago.
Yeah.
You don't be hugging the horn.
Yeah. And then part of it, I was like, man, I don't even want to have to see your mama if something
Right.
goes off here, man,
No.
and you're here with her. I was just like, I don't even want to have that conversation with her,
No.
So, yeah.
And that's real talk. That's real
It's
talk.
about as real as it gets, man.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate that that's a reality.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about here today.
Yeah.
That's-
And I guess I would just kind of caution those who are just parents. I just, again, every one of us has a standard we set in our home.
Absolutely.
But I just think that just immersing the kids in gun culture, I just think, I just think you just need to kind of say, all right, this is our lid, It's funny, man. Yeah, I don't know if it's Psalms 11 where the Bible talks about how God hates those who love violence. And just like, I ain't gonna lie, I read across that right after one of the John Wick movies. That's why I was like, I had to repent. Like, man, it's just like, I was just like, this just happened to show up. I was just like,
It's
man.
a text.
I'm like, why am I entertained by bloodshed and violence? And I
Myers,
just think if we're gonna have a healthy Christian soul.
Right.
I just think
Mercy.
we just needs to be kind of something that says, okay, the amount of bloodshed that I'm entertained by, we need to kind of think through that a little bit differently.
But let me just say, in your defense, there's a big difference between Mission Impossible and John Wick.
That's a big delta.
John Wick is I stopped watching those two for the very same reason.
Yeah, they went overboard.
Big difference.
Too much.
I think we have established pretty clearly that we embrace the idea that, unfortunately, in our sinful world, it may be necessary for someone to have a firearm. It's certainly necessary. We've already made that pretty clear in church.
In church,
and I know I don't have any problem when I see our deacons or our security team. I guess it's really our security team. Openly carrying guns. I get it. I understand the world we're living in. And so it doesn't bother me. I don't think that having a firearm means you don't have faith.
Sure.
Agreed.
Any more than I would say, that me having a baseball bat by my bed doesn't mean that I don't have faith. It just means that
or an alarm on your house.
Or an alarm on my house. I don't keep the doors unlocked.
Right.
I don't keep the doors open. So it's all it's all sort of common sense. There are things that we need to do within our level of comfort and means. So, final question. What do you believe the primary danger is that believers are facing, and what should be the primary weapon?
The primary. Well, I mean, I just think. Well, our primary enemy is not flesh and blood.
Not at all.
It's principalities, powers, spiritual wickedness in high places, and I just think I guess I would just want to encourage us, again, not speaking to the other issue of gun ownership or your baseball bat, or there's a certain kind of stick. Somebody knows what I'm talking about. Some people keep under the seat of your car a certain kind of stick.
I may have one of those.
Right. But I just think that, our primary assault is that it's a spiritual assault. That's ongoing. It never ceases. And I guess I just would not want us to be more equipped to fight a physical home invasion than we are to deal with the spiritual home invasion.
Mercy.
That is relentless, that is endless, and just recognizing, as the Bible says, the weapons of our warfare, they're not carnal. But they are mighty in God to the pulling down of strongholds. And I just think, in the spiritual realm, and again, we're shifting the conversation a little bit, but you'll never be able to fight a spiritual enemy with carnal weapons. And that's actually the more clear, obvious, and present danger. And I just want to encourage us to make sure that in all of our arsenal gathering that we put on, as Ephesians 6 says, the whole armor of God, that we can stand against the wiles of the devil.
Amen.
Good. That's good.
Final thoughts, Pastor?
I think. I love this. I do think we need to have more open dialogue. I think. And even in your families, there are things that your kids are being exposed to, conversations that they're having that you probably don't think they're having. I think this could be a launch pad for many of us. This podcast episode could be a launch pad for you to be able to sit down with your family and have some conversations around what is our stance as a family, what should be our normative behavior, and how are we arming ourselves for the spiritual battle as a family. So I just hope that this can serve as a launch pad for those kinds of conversations.
Dialogues.
Yeah.
Well, we certainly want you to be safe and secure.
Yes, indeed.
Spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally. And we hope that this conversation has helped in some way for you to achieve that or to continue your journey toward that kind of wellness, especially spiritually.
Absolutely.
And of course, we believe here on the Breathe podcast that the best way to achieve that is to stop, pray, and breathe.
Breathe is produced by David Person for Breath of Life. Executive producer is Debleaire Snell, and sound engineer is Kirk Nugent. Audio episodes of Breathe can be found on Apple, Spotify, or Google podcast platforms. For video episodes and extra content, check out the Breath of Life YouTube channel. Breath of Life is faith-based content, resources, and programs from a contemporary urban perspective for those looking for hope and guidance. We believe that every breath we take is a testimony that God is consistent, that He loves us, and has a plan for our lives.